And we are live. It's been a while since we came live for this whole journey of the Great Brand Reset project. So, you guys have been fantastic on this Tuesday afternoon, and I'm here to continue the conversation of this Great Brand Reset project. So, I had to take probably almost a month of a break because I guess there were a lot more folks reaching out, asking for help with their own branding and marketing. So I had to give them more time and put a hold or pause on this brand reset project. And as I was just about to continue, uh, the person who shared with me about branding itself, that was uh, came forward and say, you know what, I see what you're doing. You're trying to do it yourself, and the journey is going to take quite long if you try to do it yourself. He told me like upfront, you're going to do this yourself. It's going to take a really long time, and it's going to be quite tedious. And definitely it is. Just the first phase alone took us about 20 episodes to find some form of conclusion. And he said, you know what, I want to help you make this easier. And he, to put cutting short, basically, I'm going to be the ultimate guinea pig for this whole experience of the branding, the Great Brand Reset project of rebranding. I'm going to try every single concept in the book, in the playbook, and I'll be testing it out on myself. And we're going to develop things which we have always dreamt of through this whole journey. And I thank Fidaus for that. He has guided me for the past three sessions to kickstart the second phase of the Great Brand Reset project, which is to find my brand identity. So we found who are going to be my audience, what the solution gap, what kind of possibility of a product and audience I should serve, and how I can best serve them. Now is to find my brand identity so that I can bring out the best version of myself to present to this target audience. But even in the process, the thing of rebranding is branding, we are able to uncover a new audience set who I can potentially serve as well, or I can even serve better, in fact. But enough of this. I will just show you guys what we have today. But for today's episode, we'll try to go a little bit fast because the three sessions with Fidaus is very, very intense. We are unpacking a lot of things about myself, my own beliefs, my thought process, uh, my success, and also my failures. We are consolidating all of it into one single blueprint. So, can you imagine how intensive those conversations have been? And just to show you guys how it feels like, uh, today is about the uncomfortable truth about personal branding, whereby the uncomfortable truth of going through this process itself. It's not fun. I mean, I should not say this, but it's not fun, but it's exciting because you are peeling layers about yourself. To be honest, I spoke to Firdaus as we start to get things together, we start to shape the identity together. I say that, you know what, at the start of this process, I thought that by going through this with you, you'll be able to reveal something extraordinary, something like a game changer about myself. I have some hidden talent, or I have some great revelation about myself. But the truth is, it's much more than that, and you need to be mentally prepared for it. I am not doing a good pitch about this planning process, but you understand why as I come along. But I feel that it's a necessary thing to walk through. So if you guys are still fresh to this whole experience, I don't know why my slide is popped. You guys can join the Great Brand Reset project where you're going to rebrand, recharge, and refocus so that you can develop the ultimate experience for our audience. Like quick recap, episode 20, we did a product business feed. We discovered about, we put a lot of things together. So we came a long way, guys. It's 20 over episodes. And we find out what's a value ladder and what kind of business solutions can offer in the future. We also came to the conclusion sales is not business, but I don't want to go into this. Phase one is about refocus on the new direction whereby we have to refocus where should we head forward. And now it's about finding the purpose where I'm going to develop my own identity. So this is one of the tasks that we had to sit through without walking through this conversation whereby I had to find my sweet spot of a purpose whereby this is easily discovered, this Ikigai model, whereby you have your expertise, you have your obligations, and you have your happiness. So your expertise and your knowledge and skills, your worldview and opportunity, and your passion and joy. I'm going to go a bit fast, guys, because if I were to unpack each one of these individually, this could be an hour or 2 hour session. So this is the outcome of that conversation. One of my expertise is actually design thinking, selling, designing marketing campaigns, facilitation, rallying others, and mindfulness. So those were my expertise, which is a combination of my own skills, which are hard skills, and also my knowledge, what I've learned so far. Oh dear, a bit of mesh. Sorry about that. So on my right side is my obligation about how I perceive the world and what kind of opportunities are available towards me. Shout out to my wife here because she motivates me. That's why she's an enabler, and is doing an amazing job as well in her own stride. New entity is also an enabler, and my worldview is that I want to show people that there's no shortcut. It is okay to suck at the first time when you're doing this. And the kind of opportunities I have been receiving are usually related to copywriting, ads, and marketing, and also to develop projects for folks. And interesting enough, sometimes I also get presented with opportunities to buy over businesses due to the access to the networks I have. And my worldview is that we are always constantly sharpening and making progress in our life. And most important worldview that I believe in is abundance mindset. So I've been talking to a few folks about abundance mindset. Uh, some people, when they get into the business, they are very competitive. They want to have the whole pie, but you can't fit the whole pie in your mouth. You will just suffocate. You need to know what's the sweet spot, what's the ideal audience size that you can serve comfortably. And there's a little bit here about spirituality that I want to address about how I to integrate Islam and my religion into the way I serve my audience, users, and customers. So that it's not about practicing it in how we are obligated to, but it's about integrating these beliefs and practices into every single thing in my thought process as well. So I want to form that connection and make it part of my business, not something that is separate. Compared to part of my work, not a separate task because I don't want it to be divergent. I need to be convergent. So, what brings me happiness when I get to work towards building my legacy, and when I know that my words, people are paying me for the words, my advice, and ultimately it's about discovering formulas. So, what you see here, this whole conversation, one, two, three, they are crystallized into three statements here, which is discovering formulas, creating influence, and having that abundance mindset. So, that also helped me to rearrange that into this particular purpose statement. My purpose is for folks to help unpack formulas, demystify things which are usually unattainable for folks, unpack the formula for success to inspire hope in others. And this is one way you can do it to find a purpose. So this was another way. And so this other method is for us to do a check on whether my purpose and views are consistent. So this is a little bit more different way where first we talk about how we want to serve ourselves and then how we find ways to serve ourselves and the audience as well, and finally what are the best things that we can do to serve the audience. So the same questions, just a little bit different on how you rearrange the ideas. So typically I want to show that there's no shortcut, the same thing again. And that shows that I am aligned and consistent with my beliefs. And then we have this part here. It's a way to expand, to put it into written format, break it down further in a way that you can track what the conversation ahead. And this itself, this to fill this up took us an hour and a half whereby it's series of questions after questions after questions like, hey, Imran, what's your worldview on this? And what kind of opportunities are you experiencing? What are your knowledge? What are your skills? And Interesting enough, for my case, my knowledge and my skills are one and the same. Some of you may be knowledgeable in cooking, but that is not your skill set because your skill set is maybe in knitting. So mine is one of the same. I learned about selling. I know about selling, and I am selling. I learned about copywriting. I have knowledge of copywriting, and I do copywriting as well. So I guess I love that idea that it all comes together. So next up, we talk about business model canvas. So I think this needs no more introduction because you guys should be familiar with business model canvas. But I still had to do my own business canvas myself. So some of you may feel like, hey, Imran, but I thought you're working for an agency now. You're not a business owner. Why are you still doing a business model canvas? I think this uh, is an important conversation. Yes, we may be gainfully employed, we are employed, but it doesn't mean we should stop uh, detaching ourselves and seeing ourselves as an entity as well, because that will allow you to know how to optimize your life and better uh, improve the way you make decisions as well. And you need to have this conversation. This is not exclusively just for business owners, because yes, I know it's called business model canvas, but anyone can sit through and walk through this conversation about understanding yourself as an entity. So that's why all these questions were fleshed out. Who are my influence, and who are the channels that I find opportunities from? So the whole conversation. And now it's about finding my tone, you see. What is my attribute, my brand attribute? So this conversation was pretty fun. This is the part where it got really, really uncomfortable because I had to come up front and share not just my strengths, but I had to reveal my weakness. So this is the part which is really important because some of us may only want to reveal all the good stuff about ourselves so that we we can just walk through this process and hopefully nobody ever has to know what are our shortcomings. But guys, for this process to be effective, you need to know what are your shortcomings so that you are able to connect with people on a human level, and you're also able to find that you are talking to the right people. So once again, apologize that the text is a mess here, but this is how it's like during the conversation. How it will be is sometimes we will have an idea, oh, what do you think of yourself, Imran? So audience basically how I perceive my audience. So I might say, hey, I feel that my audience are most of them are survivors. And you type out the word survivors, and then the survivor might go up and down. We're trying to reorganize all the things that I feel about my audience. So we then I might have many ideas about how I perceive my audience, and then we need to reorganize them into clusters. You see here, there are clusters one, two, three, four, five, six. And from those clusters, you need to shortlist further and again until you find the one true meaning to represent of how I perceive my audience. It's all in red. So I perceive my audience as anti-stagnant, and then we have the perception part, how the audience perceive me. So ultimately, it came up to composure and tone of voice. So this was quite fun. We have to explain how I write, how I communicate, and what's my style and tone of voice. So this is process have to reveal things which are negative about myself as well. So I can be judgmental, I can be unforgiving, I'm not giving second chances, I can be extremely headstrong, defiant, objective, and these all negative things have to reveal because uh, you need to make it as transparent as possible for you to develop the ultimate identity. And those who work with me, sometimes they give up because I can be quite strict with the way I operate, and they sometimes have to surrender to the process that I've developed, or else they will not have the best time as well. But the ultimate outcome is that they have a renewed vision. So ultimately, what I wanted to achieve with the impact is self-awareness, and this is my ultimate expectation. This was pretty hard for me to come up with because people are going to ask you, hey, what's so special? What's so special? What's special? So yes, I did that whole conversation about value proposition, how you can do a whole conversation of value proposition, but I this is a bit more condensed version that is more towards solution. based. Unique recognition and the solution. This is more towards how you're perceived in terms of expected. I think what a lot of what I do is how I transform art into a science so that people can replicate the same experience and the same ideas. So yes, ultimately the output that we're going to achieve is also knowing who is my audience in detail. So it's crazy detail here. I didn't realize how crazy and how much we actually generated until I look at this again. It's super detailed, guys. That's why I said whoever goes through this experience, you're gonna blow your mind. Your mind is gonna be super unpacked. And yes, Kelvin, yes, there's a lot of equations here. That's why I love this process because I don't believe in guessing how to reach the outcome. I don't believe in gut feeling. Gut feeling should not be your leading compass. It should supplement, it should give you the extra nudge at most. Uh, Branding itself has always had this impression by a lot of folks that it is mostly led by feelings, it's mostly led by instinct. And I cannot operate by that alone. I will find it really hard because when it's truly only operated by feelings, instinct, it's hard to transfer the knowledge, it's hard to justify the effort, it's hard to do a valuation of how much that whole experience is worth. So that's why I had to rely on the equations. And there's a lot of formulas, there's a lot of processes over again. A lot of questions until you really extract the true essence of the person. Then you start to develop the things like your visual, you start to develop your marketing campaign, you start to develop your tone of voice. So yes, Kelvin, there is a lot of equation. There is a lot of framework and questions. And that's the beauty of it. That's not supposed to make it difficult. If you were to find a brand strategist and the person only says, okay, what's your industry? What color do you like? I'll prepare for you your brand identity tag tomorrow. I would say that person probably knows you very well. That's why the person can do that. But otherwise, if you're walking in blind or you want to really transform yourself, you have to go through this equation, this formula, this framework, this process very thoroughly. Even Fidaus mentioned to me the folks that actually walk through the experience, the full complete experience, are not a lot, but those that actually see through the experience, I have seen in my very own eyes. I've serviced a few clients that walked through the whole experience with me faithfully. When they emerge at the other end of the tunnel, they are like a whole new person. There's this new energy, there's this new aura, and this new purpose that new drive for them to achieve their goals. That is what the whole true branding experience should feel like, should be like. And we are super detailed even down to what kind of customers are we serving. We have the image in mind. And this the process that's very uncomfortable because I realize, so this is the kind of people who I should be serving. And then I ask myself, is this the kind of people that I truly want to serve? Because it seems a bit different than the first phase that I want to serve to feel to serve my purpose, serve my needs. And it's I find like it's a lot about reflection of myself as I finish this whole process up to this point. I find that this particular demographic, this audience, is like looking in a mirror of the kind of person I'll be in 10 years into the future. And it's very uncomfortable because I see there's a lot of issues here and I have the solution for this issue, but how this issue arise, and I don't know whether I'm comfortable to think that this my end state as well. And just a note about your ideal audience, we had discussion whereby typically you need to know your age. Let's say you're 30, your audience are typically going to be 5 years younger at max and 5 years older at max. If they're too far out of your range, let's say you're 30, your ideal audience are 60, there better be a really good reason in terms of solution, there's a solution problem fit. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard for you to empathize on a personal level. You're only going to be able to empathize on a solution level. And you should know better which one is more convincing. Being able to convince them on a personal level is going to be much more stronger than being able to convince them on a solution level. So that's why ideally your audience size or audience archetype has to fit within that 10-year range, above 5, below 5. And that is what we're striving for, whereby 37, married, young, 2 kids. So because I recently got married, I don't have kids yet, but to some level, I'm able to empathize with this audience, how and what they're going through. So, yes, this is a really, really beautiful experience. And then once you have the whole demographic, and everything starts to get faster, everything starts to click. I can tell you the earlier part was so painful. We sat down for 2 hours. Fidel was just greeting me over and over. He doesn't greet, he doesn't tease you as much as what I that's my method. How he does it is very subtle. He just asks a lot of leading questions. He just asks a lot of uh, prompts from him. And I like to vomit out everything because I want to share as much as possible, be transparent as possible. Because I want the proper experience, the full experience. And everything comes pouring out, and you start to realize, oh, this is me. Shit, I didn't know I'm such a mess. But I have to confront that. And as things go faster and faster, we go to the next step, it gets faster. Go to the next step, it gets faster. And it starts to click because when we start to think about, okay, if that's my demographic audience, if that's the kind of audience I'm working with, that means I need to shape my marketing, my user journey of how I'm going to access this or my client acquisition. I cannot use the methods that I've deployed in the past. I have to think about a new method now. And that's how we came with this user journey, which is how you create awareness, how are you going to create the interest, decision, and advocacy. So then now I can do an audit of how I've been doing my client acquisition and make that adjustments. So do you realize how branding is more than just your logo, your color scheme, your font? It is that, but it's more than that as well. This is what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be your compass to know where you should be heading, where you should not be heading as well. And this is basically an extended version. We expand into really a lot of details of how we can get through towards our audience. So that's pretty much the whole experience we've come through so far. It's been 3 sessions with going through the session. As I said, it's really uncomfortable, but it's about confronting the truth and nothing but the truth. And only the truth is actually free. And looking for the next session. Tomorrow is my 4th session, going through with the 𝗏𝗏 himself. And I will share with you guys as well how it has been. I will also try my best to unpack some of the sessions itself individually so that you guys can also copy and try to apply on yourself. Uh, but ideally, it's best to have a guide to walk you through because chances are, if you don't have a guide walking you through this process, you're only going to have 1 or 2 responses at most. You're going to say, let's call it a day. I think this is what I am. And you're not going to be the one prompting yourself to push yourself further because you look at the time, hey, I think it's good enough. Let's do the next step. Let's do the next step. Let's do the next step. But if a guide, that person is going to sniff out your BS and ask you to tell the truth. And you're going to keep prompting. And they're going to go to the next step until they are satisfied. And yet, meet the timings. So next session, probably we'll try to do something within this week for our second session. To continue this great brand reset project, the whole sharing experience. We're going to unpack phase 2, what's involved in phase 2. There's going to be a lot of stuff as well. We're going to complete the brand experience, the rebrand experience. We're going to show what the components involved. And yeah, I really would love to hear you guys, your thoughts, those who are watching, how do you guys feel about seeing that whole chunk of text, chunk of ideas being consolidated and crystallized? How do you guys feel about that? And as well as those of you who might want to have a taste of going through that experience itself, you can just reach out to me DM, or those who want front row seats to watch the whole deal. I'm opening up to you guys, whoever that's watching here. You can just reach out to anyone. I'm going to open up the office. You guys can come down and watch over our shoulders and witness the rebrand experience being done through your eyes yourself. So that's it for today's session. Hope you guys can see that branding is a long process. It's a journey. It's for unpacking yourself. It's about revealing your true self and showing it to the world and accepting it, acknowledging it, and turning it into your, I don't know what's the right word for it. Turning your true self, revealing your truth, and letting it set free, I guess, setting yourself free. And I think you feel lighter after it. It feels like therapy. But I guess that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to set you free, that you get peace, and you feel assured that, yes, this is my purpose, and this is how I want to communicate my purpose, and these are the tools that I'm going to use to communicate my purpose, and this is how I'm going to serve others with my purpose. So I guess serving your passion with purpose, maybe that's what it's supposed to mean. Serving your passion with purpose. And my purpose, I've understood now, is to unpack formula for success to inspire hope in others so that they too can enjoy the same street of success. So that's all for today's session, guys. Hopefully, there's a lot of takeaways, a lot more questions. Please ask them in the comments or DM me anytime. I'll be more than happy to catch up with you guys. So that's all. Take care. Goodbye.